2019 Subaru BRZ review. The Subaru BRZ will be the result of collaboration between Subaru and Toyota to generate a fun-to-drive and inexpensive race car. That ethos means it rivals the convertible Mazda MX-5 along with diverse coupes just like the MX-5, Audi TT, BMW 2 Series and Nissan 370Z. Its most evident rival, naturally, could be the Toyota GT86, which shares the overwhelming most of parts with BRZ. Watch, Cheap Fast Cars Group Test. Its rear-wheel drive dynamics along with a low-slung driving position allow it to be more focused over a hot hatch such as the VW Golf GTI, but more compromised with regards to practicality for that reason. Excellent chassis. Handling are a wide part of just what the BRZ is all about. The rear-wheel drive configuration is music to driving purists' ears, whilst the low center of gravity means that is a car that only loves corners. The steering is extremely good, the driving position is brilliant, as well as the clever electronic stability and traction control systems. Be sure to can have fun with fewer associated risks. All on this means you may expect a much purer and uncorrupted driving experience weighed against a front-wheel drive hot hatchback. Slightly joyless but effective engine. Unlike many modern performance cars, the Subaru BRZ utilizes a naturally aspirated engine. That means the 2 main 0.0-liter 4-cylinder petrol unit makes just 200 horsepower, while rival turbocharged cars extract nearly 50% more power through the same sized motor. The advantage, however, is usually a more linear SP watch of handle of a wider rev range. You'll want to reach 7,000 revolutions per minute optimum punch, as opposed to the laggy bottom and breathless high end associated which has a turbo engine. Consequently, the BRZ's power is incredibly predictable and simple to manage. The throttle fact is sharp. While you want a quick burst of power, the Subaru delivers immediately. We'd have liked an exciting engine note though. As an effect, even though the BRZ's motor is often a very effective tool, it's not something you'll enjoy while on an emotional level. Surprising comfort, good specification. Although a fancy car, the BRZ isn't what we'd call uncomfortable. Its sports seats are incredibly supportive without getting hard, and long journeys pose no real problem. The ride is corsetting because of 17-inch wheels with relatively fat tires, so there's very little of the choppiness regarding other focused sports cars. There's also just one trim level and sat-nav may be the single option, so all Subaru BRZs come relatively well equipped. Active safety equipment is often a notable absence, however. Only one engine to select from, a 2.0-liter petrol. A bit gruff and never hugely powerful but smooth and linear. Being out-muscled up by diesel VW Golfs gets boring though. Your choice is somewhat limited when it comes to engine choice, but that doesn't mean the Subaru BRZ isn't fun. There's just one single motor available, a 2.0-liter, 4-cylinder petrol-burning unit with horizontally opposed cylinders. What Rogue's aspect means is usually that the engine is flat, so may be mounted nice and lower in the chassis, thereby helping handling. Plus in theory the engine ought to be quiet and smooth, although we found it a bit gruff. So it's not probably the most sonorous or exciting engine, nevertheless it certainly contains the job done. It's naturally aspirated, which implies it SP watches its power across a large rev range rather when compared to a big turbocharged lump in the center. Unfortunately, which means it's quite slow when compared to a modern hot hatch or perhaps a diesel-powered VW Golf. Still, straight line speed is not really exactly what the BRZ is designed for. 2 gearbox choices. There's either a simply excellent 6-speed manual gearbox or perhaps almost as impressive 6-speed automatic. The former enables a sprint to 62 miles per hour in 7.6 seconds that has a top speed of 140 miles per hour, as the latter hits 62 miles per hour from standstill in 8.2 seconds, which has a top speed of 130 miles per hour. A conventional autobox in lieu of modern twin-clutch arrangement means you will get rapid gear changes, looked after blips the throttle for the downshift. The engine is responsive, although for optimum effect you should ring against each other mercilessly to 7,000 revolutions per minute, where peak power of 200 horsepower is produced. The torque figure is 205 Nm, again available high up from the revs between 6,400 revolutions per minute and 6,600 revolutions per minute. There's no immediate power during a turbocharged petrol or diesel engine, so as the BRZ is linear and predictable in the delivery, it doesn't believe fast. Simple but sophisticated chassis. All the constituents for a good time. A handling revelation only at that price. The BRZ handles fantastically. Thanks to the proven fact that the engine and front seats are mounted lacking in the chassis, it features a very low center of gravity and near 50 hours 50 minutes weight distribution. This aids handling within a big way, making your vehicle eager to change direction, and increases the linear, predictable way the leading and rear tires react after you turn the tire. The wheel itself is usually a nice size, too. There's a reasonable bit of feedback through it, together with the nicely weighted steering setup communicating the leading wheel's movements accurately. Sophisticated suspension put in place. The BRZ has fully independent suspension at both ends on the car, aiding traction and the entire body control. A standard fit limited slip differential also does its part by ensuring the engine's output is fed to whichever with the rear wheels has most traction. The Subaru Vehicle Dynamics Control System does an admirable job of making sure you can offer some fun without dealing backwards in the hedge, or you can let down all in the driver aids for most true tail-out antics. This might be a pursuit best kept on the racetrack, though. A facelift in 2019 brought redesigned dampers aimed towards reducing body roll and improving comfort, and a lot more powerful brakes to aid bring everything back in check. Super low driving position. Hard-wearing plastics and materials. Lacks the benefit of pricey arrivals. The cabin on the BRZ is aimed squarely at facilitating driving enjoyment and minimizing distractions by looking into making everything clear and to use. All the controls are within easy reach from the driver. The seating position is fabulously low, meaning an engaging drive reducing center of gravity, and also the gear lever placed perfectly. A 4.2-inch LCD display within the instrument panel shows G-force, steering angle, brake force, lap timer plus torque and power curves for fast reference. The seats are incredibly supportive and surprisingly comfortable considering how sports-orientated this car is. Together with pedals are well spaced too, that makes enthusiastic driving easier. Visibility is very good, although in typical coupe fashion it's tough to see over your shoulder at the automobile's blind spot as a result of the small rear windows. Everything inside the cabin feels long-lasting and constructed to last, and it also has been chosen due to its non-shiny nature as a way to cut down on windscreen reflections. The flip side of this is that some with the plastics and materials aren't particularly nice to see or touch. The touch screen is often a little frustrating to use at times too, that has a stubby volume knob that may be hard to grip. Seats hold you in position. They're extremely comfy. Hard work to drive around. Considering its singularity of purpose, there's not really a lot to complain about in connection with level of comfort in the Subaru BRZ. The ride is surprisingly compliant compared to other modern sports cars because of the 17-inch wheels with fairly fat tires. A sound generator improves the noise from the engine from 4,000 revolutions per minute. The place that the aggressive-sounding engine is pretty vocal, nonetheless it's quiet below this, where there isn't much from the way of wind or road noise to annoy the trucker. The front seats deserve special mention within this section as they're supportive but without getting too hard. Those within the back are only decoration. Anyone taller than a child will feel totally squashed, though they're best for shopping bags. Our only complaint is really its belligerent nature in slow traffic, as you move the weight with the controls and grumpy idle gets quite draining. Only one trim level called Sail Luxe. Paint and sat-nav the one options. Decent standard spec to the BRZ. Subaru makes all the BRZ range a little easier to negotiate compared to the Toyota GT86. There's just one trim level and hardly any options, in addition to paint and sat-nav. Standard Subaru BRZ Coupe equipment. The Subaru BRZ's current single trim level is referred to as Luxe and incorporates Subaru Starlink infotainment system, 6.2-inch color touchscreen, voice recognition system, USB port, auxiliary audio input, Bluetooth, CD player with 6 speakers. Driver's 4.2-inch LCD display including digital speedometer. Automatic LED headlights. LED front fog lights and rear combination lamps. Power folding door mirrors. 17-inch alloy wheels. Manual cruise control. Leather leader with red stitching. Leather knob and handbrake lever. Aluminium pedals. Heated front sports seats, leather and Alcantara, with 6-way manual adjustment for the driver's seat. Stainless steel door sill covers. Keyless entry and begin. Dual zone automatic air conditioning. Heated door mirrors. Optional extras, Subaru BRZ Coupe. Once you've selected which with the 5 paint colors you desire, there's only one other option, whether or not you desire sat-nav. No Euro NCAP rating. Lack of autonomous tech. Plenty of airbags, though. The BRZ hasn't been tested by Euro NCAP, neither gets the Toyota GT86, so it's tough to say with any authority how it'd fare within a crash, although Subaru says our bodies is highly rigid because of the using high tensile steel. You understand a pretty comprehensive list of airbags, front side, curtain and knee, along with the usual stability control, ABS and Eyesight seat mounts within the rear. Subaru's vehicle dynamics control monitors steering angle, speed, gear and braking to improve traction, but what we don't know more about is Subaru's comprehensive Eyesight driver assistance technology, including stuff like lane keep assist or emergency braking, while an option, understanding that seems unfortunate. Compact boot space accessed by using a small lid. Rear seats are very for display purposes only. Solve both problems by making use of back seats as storage. The rear seats are not for being placed in, if you do not have detachable feet. Even then you should move top seats forward very far indeed on an adult to squeeze their legs behind. It possesses an amount of extra safekeeping though, that might come in useful, so it's advisable to think with the Toyota like a 2-seater which has a very occasional 2 of seats and instead rely on them as additional boot space. The Subaru BRZ has teeny tiny proportions, which implies you don't get a very good boot or back seat, but about the flip side it's simple to park and feels right in your own home on a narrow B road. The Subaru BRZ can be a rear-wheel drive, 2-door coupe, 2 factors that mean it's got less boot space over a comparative hot hatchback. That means you'll ought to make do having a 237-litre boot, which expands to just 1,270 litres if you fold on the rear seats. Better to make use of them for storage. The bucket shape is wonderful for holding a shopping bag. You ought to access the boot by way of a reasonably small lid. Still, there is usually a silver lining. Simple fact the BRZ carries a proper roof means it no less than beats the Mazda MX-5's boot, which measures 130 litres. Like that car even though you won't find many interior storage for items like phones or wallets, so be sure you wear a 2 of cargo shorts with a lot of pockets when driving.